Welcome to the Mental Edge.
Before you wreck yourself.
Yeah.
All right.
Everything rolling? Let me see your level. Let me talk like a man, dude. Come on.
All right. I'm talking like a man. Am I talking like a man?
Yeah, you're talking like a man.
All right.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I noticed that when you were talking last time that kind of blew my mind was when you talk, you're able to finagle through the mic
without going donk
and
hitting the mic.
I think I saw you hit it one time.
I did.
But it was me. Or was it you?
Oh, I think I hit it.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. All right. So, yeah, I did notice that, and I'm like, this guy knows a level of Kung Fu that even
that's
Bruce
some
Lee
Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, you want to fight? Come fight to me. Hey.
Whatever, right?
Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man. Yeah, so I know that you hit me up and wanted to chat today, and I'm like, all right. So I look up in the old notes and...
Because why? Because you got stuff literally in the bank.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, right, I'm a student. I like to learn.
Yeah.
I'm teachable. So I thought to myself, you know, I just went in the banks and pulled out something that's been, that I've been studying or speaking to me, and
love it.
What did we come up with? I like the way you said it first.
Well, this is definitely a facts and fiction conversation, but you titled it facts and
feels.
So I said feels and reels.
Feels and
if you don't mind.
No.
You know, because
feels and reels.
Because that's how cool we are.
Yeah.
Sorry to drop your feminine. Did I knock your feminine phone over? The pink one?
A little bit.
Thank you, Susanna, for buying Junior a new phone, even if it does look like a lipstick case.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it kind of all came about from a couple. This conversation is coming from a couple of angles. The first one was I read an article and it was talking about it was a social experiment that's never been tried and will end in tremendous misery.
Ooh.
Sounds great. Can't wait to get started.
Tripping. My favorite.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm calling, facts versus feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part of that is I went through this phase where I say feelings aren't facts.
Yeah, I have. Well, I mean, they might not be. Right? Occasionally, it can be, but majority of the time, it's feeling versus facts, right? Like we have to kind of measure that in our lives.
Yeah. So it's coming from those two areas. And I guess the question is, would the highest authority in your life be facts or feelings?
Yeah.
Facts or feelings? So I'll let you, mess around with that.
Well, here's my thing. I always tell people, which one's going to buy you some milk? And what I'm always saying is, when push comes to shove, which one will hash out in your life enough to produce something that you need, tangible, that you can put your hands on? Normally, it's going to be the fact. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be the feels. Right. Normally.
Right. Yeah. So I guess another question is, is the highest authority, right, external or internal? If the highest authority is external,
yes,
right, then then there's a God,
yes,
and he wrote a book, and we're living by what that book says, right? And so that's the authority, or it's internal,
yes,
and it's the feelings.
It's the feelings.
Yeah. So,
we're gonna get into some tough stuff here.
Yeah.
Another analogy I like to use is, for example, if a car is $10,000, and you go to purchase the car, and they go, okay, all that's left in this transaction is to collect payment, and you slide one Benjamin, which we all know is 100, and he goes, I'm sorry, sir, you're $909,000, which I said that bass-ack word. You're $9,900 short. And if you go, but I feel like that's 10 grand. I want you to know,
Right.
you walking home. You walking home.
Walking home.
Yeah, you walk
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I guess that article that I read, what it's saying is that people feel like they should be able to, say something is a feeling,
Yeah.
and they feel that way, right? And that's like their truth.
Yes, like I feel like you were attacking me there. I feel like you're trying to say something to me. Like I noticed in your writing you said that people, Junior, will start like they're trying to express what's going on with them, and the first thing they will say is, "Well, I feel," and we're supposed to like immediately respect that, almost like that.
But if you don't, what happens? Because I'm sure you've been in that position.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
If you don't almost immediately reel back and say, "Okay, let's talk about your feelings,"
Right.
you kind of get this vibe that they think you are an insensitive puke and you're not modern.
Right.
You're antiquated. Grandpa called. He wants his attitude back. Right?
Yeah, that's true. And what I like to always, share examples with people. So Jay, if I told you that I was, here's my example question, right? That I feel like I'm a 12-year-old girl from the Philippines.
Yeah.
Am I a 12-year-old girl from the Philippines?
You have a lot of facial hair for a 12-year-old girl from the Philippines.
Right, like something must have happened last night. I went through a lot of stress.
No.
Yeah, a lot of
not.
A lot of stress, a lot of craziness. Woke up with a beard, right, and a mustache and crazy thick eyebrows.
Did I victimize you by Miss 12-year-old girling you?
I feel like you hurt me. I feel like you triggered me.
Which that's a whole other discussion.
But that's
kind
of
in
like
principle,
what happens, right?
yes, Junior.
In principle, like a lot of people, of times that happens, but I'm not a girl, right?
Right. But here's what I want you to understand. Like before we even go any deeper, please don't lose your thought. But if you want to think that, I'm cool with it. But but making me think like that, mandating that I have to cater to your feelings is basically un-American and darn near unbiblical to me.
Right. And I guess in that sense, when you're having a discussion with someone and those types of things happen, right? And they happen in other forms. Like it's not just gender, right?
No, heck no. Yeah. This is bigger, way bigger than that, guys.
Like if I was living with my girlfriend.
Yes.
Right? But I feel like I'm married.
Yeah.
Right?
It's kind of like we're married.
Yeah.
But guess what?
You're
Go to court.
Yeah, you're not. In the eyes of the law, you're not married, right? In the eyes of God, you're committing adultery.
Sure.
Right? So
yeah,
so those types of things, is where the conversation and the ideas and the questions kind of came about.
I guess adultery would require you to be with somebody else, right? Or no, is there some way?
Fornication or whatever.
There's the word. There's the $10 word.
Yeah. I think both mean that you're being unfaithful to your spouse.
Bam.
Right?
Yeah.
So whether one means while you're married or I'm not exactly sure.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. Like you're supposed to be saved for the person you're supposed to be with.
Right.
You're playing house.
Yeah. And so these ideas and these examples, fellas, can go, in a bunch of different directions. And sometimes we use them as, sometimes we do have like communication gaps with our spouse, and we'll pull that out of the hat.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, this is good stuff right here.
How do you give me an example of a way that it happened to you?
Dude, okay, so this is a conversation Missy and I have a lot.
Yeah.
And it's because the world makes me feel bad sometimes. I want you to know something. I am most honest with Missy. Yeah. Even more so. She is my ride or die. She literally is my bestie because I'm a dude and I don't really have a bestie, as they would call it.
Right.
So unfortunately, what that means is she might be the only one that I'm that next level of truth with.
Yeah.
It's because we are invested in each other, and everything we do and say and feel and decide affects each other tremendously. Right? So I'm very inclined to not be all giddy, feely when it comes to things that are going to matter.
Yeah.
Like, honey, one time she said that this is a funny thing, right? She was communicating in a feminine way to her friends, which I'm going to tell you what that means.
Yep.
Don't lose your thought, Junior.
No, go ahead.
This is classic guys versus girls.
Yeah.
She says to the ladies, now I'm watching a football practice, so I'm literally transported back to Mr. Kincaid, reminding us that the chip on our shoulder is going to matter. I'm watching Ryder. He's like 7, and I'm like, kill them all, right? And then I hear her go, well, you're not going to believe this, but he doesn't like the color that I painted the hallway. So there I go.
Who's he?
Me.
Oh, she's talking to a friend.
I can hear. No, there's a gaggle of women over there.
All right.
They're sewing a quilt. I don't know what they're doing over there, but they're talking, right? So so at this point, they all like, she picked the color and I don't like it. And then so I was like, hey guys, how you doing? Like, I'm over here watching the football practice, but I'd like to chime in on my behalf if that's okay. So,
since I was
Your Honor, I'd like to represent myself pro se. I said, let me translate that to you. And the facts is that Missy said, hey, look, I painted the hallway, which, by the way, ladies, was the 6th time in 4 months. So that doesn't matter because I'm going to tell you what I actually said. I said, oh, I really like the other color.
Oh my goodness.
Facts.
Yeah.
What she felt was, you don't like what I did?
You don't like this
Never
color.
said that.
Right.
Just wanted you to know I love that other color.
Yeah.
But in her, what was going on with Missy was when people would scratch it or something, she was like, I saw this color I like.
Boom.
And she just painted again.
Yeah. What hallway was this?
This was in the old house in the cul-de-sac in Lower Court.
Yeah. But what is the hallway go
It
upstairs?
was going upstairs, yeah. Dude,
Where
that
the medals
hallway
hung?
had a lot of different girlfriends, if you know what I mean, like different colors every week, man. It was amazing. But anyway, there was the facts, was what I really said. My version was the truth.
Yeah.
Right? And there was the way
It made
she
her feel.
felt.
Yeah. Which now, as we're talking, I want to get into are feelings important? And yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course,
Sure.
feelings are important. And if you pour, if you allow those feelings to grab a hold of you, right? And this is so this is how it goes. And I feel like, so you have the emotional, the emotion, and then at the end you have the mood. They all sound very similar, right?
They sure do.
But if I make you feel a certain way, right?
Yeah.
That triggers all kinds of stuff in your internal.
Yes.
Right? So it's going to trigger all kinds of chemicals in your body.
Yeah.
Right?
Stuff's going on in there. You're right, Junior.
Which is going to turn into maybe one feeling that's going to be superseded by another feeling that's going to connect to another feeling, right? And if you entertain those long enough, okay?
Yeah.
It will change your mood. And if you entertain those long enough, it will change your mood.
Yeah.
It will. It will have command over you.
It will have command over you. And that's where, like, the feelings, although important, right?
Yes.
As the person who is being flooded with the feels, emotions, and then the mood swing or mood change, that's where, and fellas, this we're not. I know that we brought up examples, male versus female, but this goes for us as well.
Amen.
Right? Because she might have said something that made you feel hurt.
Yeah.
Or like she doesn't appreciate you.
Absolutely.
That brings up all these other emotions from maybe guys don't really tend to do this, but we do in some circumstances.
Yeah, we do.
Right?
I don't think we wear it on our sleeve as much.
Right? And then because we might hold them hostage, or we have those hidden under the rug somewhere, so that we and then the way that comes out is verbal, very loud,
Yeah.
anxious.
Oh yeah. After a
you know,
tipping point,
you
sure.
explode, right?
Yeah, you explode. Yeah.
And that's why we also have to be emotionally clever, emotionally, like not absent, but the opposite of absent, where we are, we can recognize them and
Capture them.
right? There's a verse in the Bible that says that, right? Capture every thought.
Amen.
And hold it subject to, test it
Yes.
to the word.
Listen, this is so much wisdom. Junior, that's so much wisdom.
I got that from you, though.
Like that, like not being impulsive,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Man, there's some crazy good stuff going
I
on
know
right
you were
now.
going to say,
Because
I know where you were going, right? Not be impulsive. What's that look like?
not being impulsive.
Yeah.
Like
Or what's impulsive look like?
impulsive to me is very reactive, instantaneously reactive. Like,
Right.
And that's why I think that stuff you were talking about, like allowing those feelings, if you don't squash that crap, first of all, men do here's one thing men do. They evaluate, this is where we should be.
Right.
Is that baseless? Was there intent, right? Intent. When men can measure, ladies and men measure intent.
Right.
If I look at my beautiful wife and I'm like, that rings as some like slightly disrespectful tone, but man, I mean, like that's out of character for her. Hopefully, you're able to give her or that the person you're accusing of that behavior the benefit of the doubt based in relationship. Then boom, squash that devil right there. Look, but next level is, what's crazy, honey, is like when you said that, initially I felt this way. Am I crazy? Like you literally put it out there, but you don't put it out there in a way that's combative.
Right.
But you're still using it. Like these are the things, the wisdom things that I think men, if you start to harness that type of a communication skill, you cannot be attacked. You cannot be attacked in the battle. You're not going to lose the battle. You might spar a little.
Yeah.
But I think winning that emotional battle with yourself, Junior, and seeking the truth is key to being on that plane.
And I have two quick notes that I wrote that actually piggyback off of what you're saying, or might even be exactly what you're saying, just written differently. So, but one of them was maybe explore, right, why the person feels that way, right? The person you're communicating with. And maybe when you give them that other perspective, would they still feel that way? Because ultimately, some people see changing your mind as evil, bad. Ooh, that bad word.
Yes.
He changed his mind. Bad word. Actually, we're constantly changing our minds all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
You're dithering back and forth, like making judgments in your head
Yeah.
about life. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. If,
So
if you're not, you're probably not being honest with yourself.
No, yeah. And think about it, right? Like, just from what you want to eat to what you want to wear to
who you're going to listen to.
Who you're going to listen to.
Yes.
And earlier you said your spouse is your best friend.
Yeah, clearly.
And you're probably her best friend, right? So, and that's beautiful to say those things. Wouldn't it be awesome if the person that changed your mind was the person that you called bestie, and that you love and that you respect, right?
Yeah.
Rather than just some Joe Schmo off the street.
Yeah.
Because then that would be kind of weird, right?
No
if that's
doubt.
the person that's giving them, or that has influence over them, right? Or the person on the radio. Now the person on the radio might, that might be a good thing because that person on the radio has some, knowledge and wisdom, and and maybe you both like this person. Maybe it's a pastor or a mentor. That makes sense.
Yes.
But if it's just like, I don't know, the housewives of Lake County, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or if it's like, some ragtag, MMA fighter that, it says some clever things, but really like his life is in shambles anyway. That's not the kind of thing we're talking about. And also, just to go back to the feels side of it, a lot of times if these feelings are instantaneous, they're impulsive, they're quick, right, when they happen. So if you're relying on that to be the end all be all of,
Yes.
telling the whole story, then you're in trouble anyway.
Yeah, you're already in trouble.
Yeah, you're already in trouble.
Yeah, that's huge, man. Yeah, because so we've talked about this a little bit before, Junior.
Yeah.
We've talked that feelings are a tool. Like your emotions are they're rearing up.
Yeah.
They're giving you a sense of what's going on, but ultimately you're in charge.
Yes.
You're 100% in charge of them. If not, you're headed towards probably some disastrous things in your life, like especially relationally.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? There was some other stuff I really wanted to talk about. You have my mind going. I miss not writing down on my phone, but
It's
I feel
all good.
like so there's two sides to this thing. Like, so for example, let's just say you feel like, I like when you say, I feel some type of way about something, right? You feel, we'll jump a little bit into like your opinion is rooted in the way that you feel. And,
for
a lot of times,
Life experiences, all kinds of stuff,
exactly. Life experiences. So a lot of those things right now, like almost everything is a hot topic, right?
sure, right.
Go figure, you got triggered, right? I mean, everyone is going off on a tangent, and half of them couldn't keep their lunch money up like a fifth grader could take it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you feel a particular way about a topic. Maybe it's a conflict right now in the Middle East. Maybe you feel a particular way. Do you know why you feel that way? Have you put aside the silly, fake emotions that pop up that sometimes are literally rooted because, I don't know about you guys, but when I learn to behave a certain way because of the people that are around me, and I start falling in line, and then things start to come, facts get spit to me, and I can't answer them, I have in my life gone in attack them panic mode, cheap insult mode, because when they spit the facts, guys, when they spit the facts to me, if I'm that person and I start to doubt what I've invested my time, my money, my relationships in, I start to get scared, Junior.
Yeah. And what you mean by that is like time that you've invested in either studying
Yes.
or in that
Or
thing.
even my emotional tied
yeah, yeah.
up. Like
Right.
I've given money to causes, and then they're saying, people are starting to spit some facts, and I'm internally questioning. This happens a lot in the Christian world, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who is maybe an atheist, maybe an agnostic, maybe not Christian, they'll know things in the Bible better than you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they'll begin to engage you. And then they'll spit something that makes incredible conventional sense.
For sure.
Right? And you'll be like, you'll be a deer in a headlight. But because you care so much about the way you were raised, or the conviction that's been in your heart, or the experience you've had on your knees at the altar, you let those emotions in that moment, which is basically insecurity, fueled by insecurity, be in charge of your response. Right? It's huge. It's huge for a man.
Oh yeah. But how does that turn out when you have two guys feeling exactly like that?
So what I see is normally in engagement is a real lack of maturity that hasn't been purchased in studying. Right? So if Junior, in conversation with me, one time, Pastor Letitia, and she's the wife of she said something that made so much sense to me one time. It like knocked me down, and I was sitting in church, and she said this, and it's impacted me deeply. I've told her a couple times. She probably don't remember because, I'm just one of the good-looking guys in the pews. But she said, so I say something, and I'm wrong. Yeah. Imagine that. Like, we're a bunch of men. We're giving you advice. Could we be wrong? I don't know. It's possible. But then you care so much in the moment that you then go and you seek out the answer. She said it's a win-win. She said it's a win-win. Right? So if you care about what you're feeling in your heart so much that you say, hey, I'm not going to get offended. I want to be great at this.
Yeah.
Right? So when you spit your facts, what you say are facts, I'm going to go back and fact check them. Because I want to know this stuff. I don't want to be fooled, right? I don't want my anxiety and my insecurity to be in charge of what I'm about to do, which typically for men, when they're cornered, they lash out and they say, you're ugly and your mama dresses you funny.
Right.
Which could be true, which might be a fact.
Yeah, it might be factual. But that's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. So, if you're in a conversation and someone's spitting facts.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what they've
Straight
studied.
facts.
Yeah. But you also have time invested, right, in this other
Yes.
where what you feel and think seems really real to you, right?
Yes.
That's where feelings are important. And this is what I mean by that. You can acknowledge the feeling, right?
Yeah.
At that
Absolutely.
point, right? And if you give this credible, factual advice,
It's respect.
if the other person, even including yourself about what they said,
Yes.
goes back and studies, and there's ultimately the shift in what I was talking about
Yes.
earlier, best friends, is the changing of the mind,
Yes.
right? And that comes from, you going back and studying
Yes.
or looking up, chapter 1, 2, or question
That's
1,
where
2,
the real
3.
meat is.
That's where the real meat is, right?
Amen, man.
And that's and no better place for that to happen than with your best friend,
yeah.
with your spouse.
It is true. And that's what the episode is all about. Like, so that's the power of facts.
Yeah, that's the power.
Respecting facts over
Yeah.
feelings. Like,
Yes.
if you respect them enough to go like, dude, I feel this way, but I am going to go back and look that up. Or I am
Figure it
gonna-
out, yeah.
I am going to go talk to somebody else that I trust. Because I hardly know you, right?
right.
But-
yeah, because again, this could be a spouse relationship, but it
Yeah.
could also be your buddy.
Yeah.
It could also be somebody you just met.
Could be some freaking speech and debate.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
Could be some speech and debate, right? And that's funny, but yeah, that is where respecting the feeling and not allowing that feeling to turn into an emotion that kind of transitions into this mood, because moods tend to last a long time.
Yeah.
Right? And if
They sure do.
And if that mood
You're fueling 'em.
transition, if you're fueling them, and if that mood turns into an offense, then we really got a problem,
Yeah.
right? Because then every time you see this person, that offense is kicked up. So ultimately, yes, I like your idea of listening, establishing this is why I'm feeling this way.
Yeah.
And then
Kind of
go
just,
back
guys,
and,
there's so much power in just saying it. Like,
yeah,
dude, I feel this way.
right.
And but I respect what you're saying, and right. I mean, if you literally
And really mean it.
just say it and mean it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you don't want to say, I respect, but then you really...
Yeah, but then you're just waiting to say what you want to say.
Yeah.
Right? No, really with intent.
Right,
Respect what they say. If you cannot refute it,
right.
right? In facts and feelings. Now, another side of this topic
Talk to me.
that I wanted to explore.
Oh, you remembered.
Is-
Let's go.
This is something, dude, that I want to
Alright.
explore.
Yeah.
Because I see it going on a lot, Junior, is that people are so afraid to tell people that they love truth that could literally change their direction. Like, and I'll give you a generic example. If my son came to me and said, Dad, I think I'm going to play in the NBA.
Right.
At 5'10", a 200-pound white boy, that's a killer on a football field.
Right.
I'm not. So the rest of the world would be like, well, don't squash his dream,
Right.
because people have glorified what he's feeling.
Right.
Right? He's like, I feel like that's what I want to do in life, Dad.
Yeah.
But where people kind of suck is saying they don't know how to deliver the message. And that's a hyper example. Sometimes, guys, there is obvious truth. And what you will say to the person you love is, oh, I love that you've got dreams. You can do anything you want to do. And all the ladies would be like, it's so good the way you talk to him.
Spud Webb was example.
Yeah, he's an example. But my point is that no, you can't
Right.
always do anything you want to do. And I know the
that was
people
deep.
right now, you can't always do anything you want to do. You might be able to do a lot of things, but what you want to do in a situation, if you truly love that person, is not squash their dream, but help them realize their purpose,
I love that. Yeah.
right? Because like you say this before, Dads watch their sons and daughters, and they know what's special about them.
Yeah.
If you care at all, fellas, you know what your son and daughter was made for.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
But
That's
people are going to
sensational.
tell them, mommies especially, I love you, ladies. Baby, you could be president one day. You might not be supposed to be the president of these United States.
Yeah.
But we are so caught up in this culture, Junior, of telling people what we believe they want to hear.
Because we want them to feel good.
Only because of the feeling. And I think it's rooted in the fact that we suck at telling the truth.
Yeah, we've gotten far away from that. But before I end, I'm going to add my note to what you just said. Independent of how you're feeling, let me see how I put. How are you going to deal with the situation actively so that we don't come across the same situation again? So when I wrote that note, it's kind of like, all right, he fell in the trap of the feels, right? The feels game.
The feels.
So independent of those feels, acknowledging that they're there, but how are we going to get past so that the next time we're communicating, you don't fall into that trap again? Because all I'm doing at this time, example, if I'm having a conversation with my spouse, is I am just, you asked me, do I like the paint color? Right?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I like the other one better. She caught a thought. She didn't catch the thought, and it escaped. I'm not saying it was a bad thing, but it's just, it came out kind of like, I guess you were in a conversation you weren't even in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You weren't,
I was evil.
You were evil in that conversation. So how can we get past that? And that's kind of like what you alluded to earlier, capturing a thought. That's what my pastor actually preached on that. Capture a thought.
Love it.
Right? So you got to capture that thought. Eventually that thought or that thing that got you to feel that way is right now it's an 8. And maybe next time it happens it's a 6.
Yeah.
And eventually you bring it down to a 2, and then eventually a 1, and then it's a done deal. I had to practice that in my own life because sometimes I would get upset and feel like maybe that person is, saying something that they're not saying about me, right? But or maybe I took it the wrong way. Or so my version of I feel some type of way. You said that earlier.
Yeah.
So my version of you say something, I'm like, I'm kind of feeling some type of way about that. What's happening in my mind is I am capturing that thought. I am usually like sometimes, I don't know, maybe it's a guy thing, but I'll make fun of it in my own mind. Like, maybe I do got big ears, right? Or I do got big ears. Whatever that looks like, right? Because, there's a saying, right? You can't take life too seriously. Sometimes we
that's good.
We take so many things so serious.
And
it's really not worth it.
It's running rampant in this country right now. Like no one can even joke anymore.
Right. And I don't want to
live like that.
No. So I can't take it too seriously. I laugh and, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Take it with a grain of salt sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like consider the source.
Yeah.
Check your sources.
I love when you say that. Consider the source.
Yes.
That's so true.
Check your sources. You don't even just Google that anymore.
Right.
I don't even know if Google telling the truth. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Not anymore, right?
Not anymore, man. I don't trust nobody but,
Check
but
this
the
out.
Bible and milk.
Yeah, and this is real quick. You said Bible, right? You only trust the Bible. So in China, this is an example, and this is probably totally off topic, but it just reminds me of like how you can't even trust Google sometimes, right? So in China, the Bible has been banned for decades, but in the last 10 years, they've translated the Bible. Okay, so you remember that woman at the well, or not woman at the well, the promiscuous woman that they were going to stone, and then God says, "He who is without sin cast the first stone."
Boom.
Well, in the new China Bible written by the government, all that happens, and all the people walk away, but then Jesus grabs a stone and stones the woman himself.
Oh man, that ain't how the story went.
That's not how the story went, right? That's what I mean. like you
Because then he said, "Go and sin no more."
Go and sin no more. But in this new translation, they paint him out to be a what? Like, he's this whatever you want to call that.
He in that moment he's judge and executioner.
He's judge and executioner. And
it's a different story.
It's not. Yeah, it's a completely different story, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a young kid that's never heard the Bible and now you're reading the Bible and that's the first, you know what I'm saying?
You downloaded that one off to Google. We're all in trouble.
You're all in trouble. So yeah, you check the source, make sure that this thing makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to someone you trust. What was the other one?
I would say.
You said 3. I'm sorry, I forgot the last one.
Yeah, I did say do some research, but I think now we're discrediting Google, but I still think there's probably areas of research through the Google, like places that you do trust, right?
Well, if you got 1,000 people, right? One person doesn't say it like the other 900. You feel me? So
I
then
feel you.
You kind of got your answer there. Does that make sense? So you got to check like that. So, anyway.
So that was a really good episode.
Yeah. I'm
So
glad that
feels versus reels, right?
Yep. Feels versus reels. I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
I'm Jay Wakasey.
This is the MentalEdge Podcast.
We out.
We out. Hey, before you turn off everything, though.
Yeah. So, Junior.
What's up, buddy?
What's going on in the world right now?
Whew. Well, what's crazy is I just saw, 2,000 bombs unleashed on Israel. I don't really know too much except that.
I know that one of the things I do appreciate right now is it seems like there's a lot of deeper explanation of the root of the historical beef between the two or the three.
Goes way back.
Like, so not today I saw something tying Saudi Arabia, right, and relationship with Israel and some other information about Iran and Hezbollah not wanting those two to have a great relationship.
Oh, okay.
So then the response from Israel will then actually affect Arabs. It will, if it's an over response, which at this point, I don't know what neighborhood you're from, but if somebody lobbed 2,000 rockets into Columbus Park, you're probably going to run over to the other side of Lake Station or Portage, or wherever they came from, and you're going to knock on some doors.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? And it doesn't seem like the rules of warfare are being followed. I see cities. Yeah. I see civilians. Yeah. It's a strange time.
Yeah. Another thing that I saw, and I am not trying to be an alarmist at all.
Yeah.
I am just, these are things that's just popping up on my feed, and I've actually asked a couple other people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, for real. I was in Texas not too long ago, and I saw like hundreds of young fighting age men coming in from other countries, and like they even got images and photos of these guys. They got like tattoos of AK-47s and like war type tattoos. Like, who would tattoo a huge AK-47 on your arm? Somebody that likes guns.
Yeah.
Right?
So military age.
Yeah.
Border crossers, and they're saying unchecked or unvetted to some degree.
Yeah, and we have to be careful and stay vigilant. Keep your eyes open. Keep your head on a swivel, and I mean, if that's the kind of stuff. So my buddy did say he was out there and he saw all these concentration camps, dozens of concentration camps, and he was like, he asked the locals, what were they keeping there? He was like, nobody. Everybody's crossing over. They're letting them go.
And I believe I heard they had caught up to 125 people on a terrorist watch list. Now this is, however, this is amongst thousands and thousands, right?
Yeah,
of course.
And they're not Mexicans that are crossing over.
I don't think
that's the thing.
I don't think they're coming from Mexico. I think life in Mexico is pretty good for most people. I don't.
Yeah. No, I mean that they're using that as the gates.
Just a thoroughfare.
Yeah, just to get through,
Yes.
And it's a crazy. Again, what we were talking about earlier. How does that make you feel? Mm-hmm. Why are you feeling that way?
Yeah.
Then the emotions it probably conjures up, right?
Are you even getting a break, Junior? As you lay in bed at night, as you go to lay your head down,
right?
You're thinking about the economy. You're thinking about the world, like like destructive power in a person's fingertip.
Right.
Like you're thinking about lone wolf attacks in America.
Yeah, in America, right?
I mean,
sleeper cells.
how do you not?
right.
Do you sleep with your gun? Because that's where I'm pretty close to that right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. My buddy's like, hey, man, should I carry my AR-15 in my truck now? Oh, yeah, if you want to. Could they pull me over? I was like, yeah, just keep it unloaded, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But when you said about the economy, I just heard someone talking about the economy, and they were like, so today, if you were going to get a loan for $500,000.
Sure.
Right?
500,000.
500,000. Just think about like houses, how much they've gone up
Sure.
so far, right? So if you want a nice house in a decent neighborhood, a well-to-do neighborhood, you're going to be close to that, right?
Yeah.
So at today's 8% rate, right?
Yes.
You're looking at like a $3,650, $3,700 monthly payment
Every month?
Every month, right? Now,
Better not be late. Better not miss a payment. 72.
right.
And he said, it'll be this 7,200.
So this is crazy. So if that same exact scenario happens just when the interest rates were at 3%,
Yes.
okay, that payment is roughly $2,100. Okay. And when they were checking to see if you can afford the $2,100 a month,
Yeah.
if you did the math,
Yes.
you would need to make around $70,000 a year to afford $500,000 house at 3%.
Yeah.
3 point something percent, right? That same example I gave earlier.
Yeah. What do you need to make
with
now,
the-
Junior?
You need to make $122,000. And
50,000 more dollars.
how much?
50,000 more dollars.
More dollars. Now, how many of us got $50,000 a year raises
Ain't nobody
over
got
the last
that. No, that's a
1 to
great
2
point.
years, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're probably stressed out. I mean, my some young guy that I ran into the other day, he was like, I went to buy cottage cheese. It was $7. He was like, cottage cheese.
Cottage
He was
cheese.
I'll
I'll just let my own cheese go curly.
No, he was like, I'm only using it a few days in the week before it's gone.
Yeah.
$7.
$7.
But I know what he was saying. What he was saying was, I'm going to the supermarket now. I'm getting a third of what I used to, and it's costing me as much or more than what I used to pay.
Junior, do you buy candy bars?
No.
I ain't bought a candy bar in a long time.
But did you?
Right? No, but my point is like
Oh.
we can't buy candy.
yeah.
We're 50. We're not buying candy
yeah,
bars.
yeah.
Nobody's eating candy bars over here, right? We blow up, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, but the other day me and Missy were at the Home Depot picking up something that we needed. And there's nobody. You scan everything yourself now. There's nobody at the register, almost never.
Again, another
it's
kind of
great.
weird thing, right?
Right? Yeah. No people in the
But you're
process.
paying more.
But you're paying
and you're
more.
not, and you're doing more work.
So she was ringing up our thing, and I looked down, and there's one lady she's kind of oversees all the registers that people are scanning at.
Yeah.
I didn't get trained to do this job, man. You got this gun in my hand. I'm beep, beep. But anyway,
You forgot something.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you're gonna tackle me over there
Sorry.
by the hot dogs. But so I looked down, and I said, "Oh, hey, ma'am." You should tell Mick I don't know what level of management you are, but somebody put the king size price, which is already crazy, on the regular candy bar.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She said, "Oh no, sir. Those regular candy bars are $2.68." I said, $2 for the box? She said, "No, sir. A regular candy bar is $2.68." I'm like, "What the?"
And they're smaller now,
And they're small.
right? Like,
Yeah.
you remember Snickers bars used to be...
It used to be beefy,
But
man.
now-
It used to satisfy.
That was a good one, man.
Oh man.
But Jay, yes.
Yeah.
This is a crazy world we live in.
Yes.
You're going to have to capture a lot of thoughts.
Capture them thoughts, baby.
Yeah. You're going to have to...
Right, because right, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
You're going to have to capture some thoughts. You're going to have to take them under submission to what?
I don't know, to not be petrified.
Right. To not be
You know,
petrified.
because I don't want to live my life in bondage when I'm trying to pretend I'm free.
Yeah.
I don't want to live like that, Junior. I want to go to the mall
Yeah.
without an
Exactly.
arsenal, right? I'm sorry, guys. I want to be able to buy a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
I'm missing one here. I bought a pair of Air Force Ones finally.
What?
Yeah, it's it's
You know she
500.
can't run in those, right?
No, it's not. But it's 500,000. So with the 8% interest, it's about 3,200 a month. Hi, man. I'm Jay Casey.
I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
This has been the Mental Edge Podcast.
We sincerely hope you enjoyed this episode of the Mental Edge Podcast. Please remember to like, subscribe, follow, and share. Until next week,